And it's really fun having them. What I realized is there's so much prejudice against refugees, mostly because people don't know them.
Lisa says she feels like she has her own personal chef, as Wildande loves cooking.
This is quintessential liberal hypocrisy, limousine liberal hypocrisy, where we have this well-to-do liberal woman who opens her door to a Haitian immigrant and her family. And watch how wonderful it is for her. Let's continue now in Massachusetts. You'll remember the illegal immigrant problem got so bad up there that the governor has now asked Massachusetts residents, taxpayers, citizens to start taking in illegal immigrants into their homes to help alleviate some of the shelter problems that state has had. Here's a quick report from WBZ, that's the CBS station up there, about a family who said, sure, yeah, okay, we'll take someone, and watch how fast. When was the last time any state government acted this fast? Watch.
Colin and Jessica Stokes called the state to sign up to be a host family. It took less than an hour for the displaced migrants to be dropped off at their door.
I gotta get sheets on the bed. How many people are coming? Where are they from? What ages? We really knew nothing.
The need is so clearly overwhelming.
The family of four who didn't want to go on camera had been sleeping at Logan Airport. The parents and two kids journeyed from Chile to Texas, then Massachusetts, and there are so many stories like it.
It boggles the mind that there are so many hundreds of those stories.
I'm sorry, have you ever tried to get your registration renewed or your driver's license renewed, or ever called the IRS helpline for, some service from the government, or about your passport? Remember, there was like a couple of months ago, there was something like a 9-month wait to get your passport renewed from the State Department. I could go on and on and on. Anytime you, an American citizen, need anything, any deliverable, any service, any information from your government at any level, do you ever get that kind of response? These guys call up. Yeah, okay, we've got some room. We'll take some illegal immigrants in our house. Within an hour, they're dropped off on their doorstep. I imagine if the entire government worked as efficiently as the entire apparatus behind illegal immigration in this country right now. Also, by the way, this family came from Chile. My understanding is that these people are in this country because they're claiming asylum. There's only a certain number of legal parameters you're allowed to use for asylum. Political oppression, religious oppression, I think sexual orientation oppression, or that sort of thing. What's going on in Chile that suddenly someone from Chile deserves protection and political asylum? There isn't. The answer is there's nothing. You can claim asylum for a national disaster as well. There's nothing like that going on down in Chile. They just know that this country is an ATM, that they're going to get a bunch of services, they're going to get a job, and so they're gaming the system. Millions and millions and millions of people. These are all false claims of asylum. So they break the law coming into the country illegally. They break the law making a false claim of asylum. They break the law while they're staying here illegally. But watch what happens after they actually move into the house. This is now from the NBC affiliate up in Boston. This story is perfection. This is quintessential liberal hypocrisy, limousine liberal hypocrisy, where we have this well-to-do liberal woman who opens her door to a Haitian immigrant and her family. And watch how wonderful it is for her.
Story you'll only see here on NBC 10 Boston. A migrant family from Haiti is sharing their experience. They're searching for shelter in the Boston area and then recently found a host home in Brookline. And now they're looking for jobs. As NBC 10's Aaron Logan reports, they say these last few weeks have been life-changing.
And it's been an emotional few weeks for Wildande Joseph and her husband. First, sleeping on the floor at Logan Airport. Then in Children's Hospital with their 2-year-old daughter who got very sick.
Me siento mal. Es muy difícil este tiempo.
She felt bad, as any mother would. Now things are looking much brighter as they've been welcomed into Lisa Hillenbrand's Brookline apartment.
Tu niña es muy alegre ahora. Sí, muy alegre. Cuando se levanta
En la mañana, ay, Lisa.
She says her daughter is very happy.
Yeah.
When she wakes up in the morning, she says, "Hi, Lisa," and everyone starts the day smiling.
It's a delight. And it's really fun having them. What I realized is there's so much prejudice against refugees, mostly because people don't know them.
Lisa says she feels like she has her own personal chef, as Wildande loves cooking.
¿Te gusta la ocupación?
Sí.
Sí.
In fact, her goal is to open up her own restaurant.
Quiero tener mi propio restaurante.
The couple has their work permits and they've been taking English classes.
Yo cualquier trabajo va a hacer para guardar mi dinero para hacer mi futuro.
They're open to work anywhere to save money for their future. In the meantime, they're enjoying their time with Lisa, their new friend for life, and their daughter's new grandmother.
Se abuela mi niña. Sí.
They are hardworking. They want to learn. They want to be successful. And I feel great helping, and I get to understand the refugee crisis from the inside.
Lisa says she's so impressed by the number of people she's met right here at Brookline Town Hall meetings who've been stepping up and hosting families. She's hopeful more will do the same in the coming days and weeks. In Brookline, Erin Logan, NBC 10 Boston.
That makes you feel great about yourself, doesn't it? I mean, you heard that from her voice. This makes me feel so good. It's really about her feeling so good. Let's see, by the way, in about 6, 7, 8 months, how good you're feeling about this situation. Did you also catch the part where she said, it's like having a live-in personal chef? That's the job she's going to end up getting, by the way. She's just going to be a live-in domestic. That's what's going on here. It's brilliant. Also, by the way, not to throw the law out there or anything, but again, I want to point out this whole refugee status thing. You can be a political refugee. You can be a refugee from a country because you're being oppressed that way, or because of your religious faith, or because of a natural disaster. These people are from Haiti. There have been natural disasters from Haiti. There was a devastating earthquake, you'll remember, in 2010, I believe it was. 2009, and a lot of refugees came in because of that earthquake. There's been hurricanes. Going back to 1991, we've taken refugees from Haiti for various reasons. In the last 10 years, there really hasn't been. In fact, you'll remember there was a huge influx of Haitian refugees at the southern border. That started the whole fake whipping story, right? The Border Patrol agents that were on horseback trying to keep people from crossing the country illegally, and the Biden administration bought into the lie that they were being whipped. You remember that, right? Well, back then, NPR did an article about those Haitian refugees, and they interviewed one of the families who were seeking refuge here. And here's what they said, quoting now: "Haiti is like a war zone right now. Shootings are rampant. People are being killed for small things. It's not a livable country. It's very dangerous." Now, that sounds terrible. It also sounds like what goes on every night in Washington, D.C., or in Chicago, or in Detroit, or in Baltimore, or in Boston, or in New York, or you get the picture, right? And it's also not grounds for asylum. These people are not political refugees. They are economic refugees. They are trying to get into this country for a better life. You just heard it. They've got their work permit. They're going to start a restaurant. This is not about fleeing political oppression or religious oppression or a disaster. It's about leaving a country that has a dysfunctional government and doesn't enforce the law and allows organized crime and gangs to run wild in the streets. And I wouldn't want to live there either. But that doesn't mean that anyone who lives in those conditions has the right to come to this country. Because if everyone who lived in those conditions had the right to come to this country, then basically people who are living in 95% of the world's surface would have a right to come to this country. Because that's the norm out there when you don't have a functioning government. Now, Massachusetts is creative in how they're handling this issue by having white liberals open up their doors and bring in television cameras to show how wonderful it is to have a personal private chef. We should really revisit that family in a couple of months and see how it's going. But over in Chicago, they have their own creative solution. Let's check in with that mayor, shall we?
The $17 million investment for these 18 Black and brown small businesses is really the it really captures what I call the soul of Chicago. It's who we are.
Last May, the city of Chicago called on the food depository to help feed new arrivals.
But did you pick that up there? This is a multi-million-dollar campaign to help feed the illegal immigrants who are having trouble in Chicago, but it's only available to Black and brown-owned businesses. If you're a white business in Chicago and you are best equipped to feed the illegal immigrants, and you can do it actually in the most efficient way and save the city of Chicago some money, in fact, in the deal, doesn't matter, because the owner of the business has white skin. And in Chicago, these business grants, these government grants, and these contracts are only going to Black or brown skin owners of businesses. I mean, it's literally racism. I mean, people call that reverse racism. No, it's just racism. Listen to him.
The $17 million investment for these 18 Black and brown small businesses.
Wow. By the way, it's clear what's happening here. That mayor and his Democrat Party, they are under fire right now from Black community, from Black residents, from Black citizens, from Black taxpayers, because they're being displaced by all of the illegal immigrants being flooded into the city of Chicago. You've seen them protesting. You've seen them speaking out at city council meetings. They are ticked off at their mayor. And this is basically a payoff. This is basically the Chicago mayor saying, wow, you know, Black people are angry at us because of all the illegal immigrants, so let's just throw some government money in the form of contracts to Black and brown-owned businesses, and maybe they'll shut up. It's the most cynical aspect of politics in America, especially racial politics in America, brought to you by the Democrats. They've been doing it for about 150 years, ever since they lost their slaves. Marco Rubio on the Senate floor really showed in stark contrast what's going on here with illegal immigration here.
One of the things I see a lot in South Florida are people that have been in this country that maybe came from Cuba 45 years ago. They've worked here their entire lives. They retire. They get $800, $900, $1,000 a month from Social Security. And then they run into somebody who just got here from Cuba 3 months ago, is 29 years old, doesn't work, and is given $1,500 a month in benefits by our government because they're refugees. That refugee, a year later, is traveling back to Cuba 15 times. So you're a refugee fleeing oppression from a place that you now go back and visit 15 times the following year. And in the meantime, we're giving you Medicaid, food stamps, health care for your children, cash payments from the refugee fund. So imagine if you've been working here for 40 years and your Social Security check is smaller than the benefits going to a 28-year-old able-bodied person who just got here. That's real. That happens. That's happening every day. That makes no sense.
Welcome aboard, Marco. It's good to have you. He's absolutely right, and he's been really strong on this issue for a little while, but he wasn't, if you remember right, about 7 years ago. You remember when he was running for the nomination for the Republican presidency back in 2016, and he was running against Donald Trump, and he criticized, he along with his buddy Jeb Bush and a couple of the other Republican nominees, or candidates, I should say, were criticizing Donald Trump for his harsh immigration stance. And how dare you, don't talk about building a wall. That's not who we are, right? And it's funny how Marco Rubio has come full course. And I don't think it's because of political cynicism. I don't think that he was just saying that and he didn't really believe it, or he's just saying this and he didn't really believe it. No, I actually think he has literally evolved in his position on immigration in this country because he has seen what it's like under Joe Biden now. When the Democrats do whatever they want on the border, when they have free reign, and they can just open the floodgates, Marco Rubio now sees what Donald Trump and a good portion of the Republican population saw back in 2015 and 2016 during the primaries. So it's good to have him on board now. You know, it's funny. When you're sort of a middle-of-the-road, moderate Republican, and maybe even a rhino, and you start seeing exactly what the left-wing Democrat policies will do and manifest in real time before your eyes, it's amazing how radicalizing that can be. And where 8 years ago you were making fun of all those MAGA hat wearing crazy Neanderthals, now suddenly it's like, yeah, give me a hat. Give me a hat, because now I see exactly what Democrats will do and what the results will be if they're able to just have free reign. So welcome aboard, Marco. Tell a friend, by the way, and check in on Jeb, will you? I'm worried about him.